Welcome to another episode of Trial Site News. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Australia and a recent poll from an Australian news site which purports to reach 10 million viewers a day. And in their poll, they claim that a majority of Australians are regretting getting the vaccine. So we're going to take a look at what is happening here. And so, from Trial Site News, I am Adrian, and our episode is starting right now. So, Australians are making their feelings known in a large survey involving tens of thousands of people. In a recent interview, News Corp in Australia featured National Senate leader Bridget McKenzie, who shared what is perhaps not entirely surprising news, that Australians will be living with the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns for, quote, a very, very long time. You see, the Australian government took a strong cue from the rigid China zero-tolerance COVID-19 policy approach, where human rights weren't high on the priority list for that government, to put it mildly. Australia followed this example and enforced shocking pandemic measures for what is usually considered an open, free, Western democracy. And the costs, it seems, were severe. From education of the young to widespread reports of mental health issues to economic implications, the results of Australian government decisions will unfortunately linger for quite some time. It is not every day when a country gives away human rights like freedom of association, peaceful assembly, liberty of movement, family reunification, and the right to enter one's own country. But there it was. It happened. And the citizens of that country have suffered because of it. Now, I'm not a pessimistic person by nature, and I'd like to think that the people of that country will learn from their experience and demand more of their politicians, their national and regional bureaucrats and academic medical leaders to listen to their outrage. And perhaps it seems this may yet be happening. In her interview, Senate Leader McKenzie reported that politicians are now distancing themselves from their own decisions during the pandemic. But let's hope it doesn't end there. Now, as for the poll that we'll be looking at today, more than 50,000 people have weighed in. And here is how the article reads on news.com.au. They wrote that, after a day of voting, each question has received more than 42,000 responses, ranging up to more than 50,000. The results are striking. More than half of respondents either said they regret getting vaccinated or were unvaccinated and happy with their decision. Only 35% out of more than 45,000 people said they were vaccinated and would make the same decision again. However, on the other side, not a single person said they were unvaccinated and regret the decision. 1/5 of respondents said that they had received 2 doses of a vaccine. 26% had 3, and 16% had 4 shots, while 37% said they had not taken any vaccine. According to Health Department data, more than 20 million Australians have received at least 1 dose of a COVID vaccine, or more than 95% of that population. An overwhelming majority of respondents said they were no longer concerned about COVID and no longer wore masks in public settings. Half of respondents said they caught COVID, with 6% of those catching it more than once, while 40% said they never did. Meanwhile, more than 2/3 of respondents said Australia's leaders had been too heavy-handed in the pandemic response, while 25% said that the government did the best they could, and 8% said as well as any other country. Now again, the sentiment from the Australian population really shouldn't be surprising here, especially considering the ongoing disappointing news of the surge of infections and deaths here in 2022, which of course we have been chronicling all year. In fact, back in April of this year, we reported that double the number of persons in the first 90 days of 2022 had died as compared to all of 2020 and 2021 combined. The citizens of Australia deserve to have their freedoms intact, even in the most troubling of times. And frankly, governments and the people that appoint them to power in all Western societies should take a hard look at how all of this has been handled. I, for one, will be quite interested in seeing how all of this fallout pans out. And of course, good or bad, we here at Trial Site News will continue to keep you posted on any new developments. Now, before I let you all go today, a little announcement of my own. If you've ever wanted to see me doing content in a more commentary-style, relaxed environment, then I have a surprise for you. Today marks the first day of my personal YouTube channel, Topical Umbrella, where I'll be talking about a variety of topics other than medical news. For example, the video I posted today is dealing with a new mandate from the European Union, which is set to ban the sale of gasoline cars by the year 2035. And it is a doozy of a story. Now, if this sort of thing interests you, I'd be honored if you went out and checked out my new channel, which of course I will link to in the description below. Although I should add, if you're looking for medical news, there is only one place I can recommend, and that of course is right here at Trial Site News on YouTube, and of course, trialsitenews.com. And that, my friends, will bring our episode to a close once more. As always, thank you so much for joining me on the program today. From Trial Site News, I am Adrian, and I will see you all next time.